Welcome back, class. In this section of the lecture, we're going to discuss peer statuses. Peer statuses and examples of peer statuses would be popular, neglected children, unpopular children. Those would be examples of peer statuses. We're going to take a deeper dive into understanding peer statuses. When we talk about peer status, another word for that is sociometric status. That is when children rate are children disliked or liked by their peer groups. And remember, not all peer groups, not everyone in the peer group is a friend. They can be acquaintances. You can just go to the same school, and those would still be considered peers. So the extent to which children are liked or disliked by their peer groups. In a study, researchers actually asked children to rate how much they disliked or liked their classmates, and they also asked children to who did they like the most and who did they like the least. And based on these questions that were answered by the children in the same class, these researchers came up with different sociometric statuses of children. And so we're going to look into that. Came up with 5 peer statuses. The first peer status that they came up with is popular children. Popular children were more likely to be nominated as a best friend, and they were rarely disliked by peers. Average children is another peer status, and they had an average number of positive and negative nominations for if they were the most liked or if they were liked the least. Neglected children, on the other hand, they were not nominated as a best friend often, but they were also not disliked by their peers. So they were kind of you can say I understand why they say neglected, because of these types of children usually are pushed into the backside. The attention is usually on the popular children or the unpopular children or the rejected children. Rejected children, that's another peer status. They are both rarely nominated as a best friend, and they're actually actively disliked by peers. And the controversial children, this is interesting. These children were frequently nominated as someone's best friend, but they were also disliked. So that could be, for example, what people deem as the class clown. A lot of people may not like them, but they also may be best friends with them. So that was a very interesting study. In regards to popular children, diving a little bit more into them, they are children that are happy, and they control their negative emotions, and they also are able to provide support for other people and also show concern for others. On the other hand, neglected children are often described as shy. Like I said, they usually are children that are put on the backside. They're often neglected or overlooked. Rejected children, they may have issues because they are rejected. So, for example, they may not be able to adjust appropriately to being in the class or among their peer groups because they have issues. They may have issues with their behavior. They just may not be liked. Rejection and victimization from peers actually is a strong and a consistent predictor of decreases in school engagement and academic achievement. So the sociometric status or peer statuses are important because they can be a predictor of they can be a negative predictor of school engagement and academic achievement. So it's important as parents, as teachers, as social workers, as psychologists, it may be important to understand how children are perceived in school by their peers. That may give you a little insight into the child and the issues that they may need help with. Along with obviously popular children, we have the neglected child as well, and children that are controversial. And so that comes along with peer rejection and aggression. In particular social challenges, particular social challenges are more common in boys. Boys sometimes are more easily to get angered, and they may often be difficult in calming down. Children that are rejected, they have developmental challenges. For example, they may be more impulsive. They may act before they think. They also may not be able to sustain their attention. And children that are rejected usually sometimes have fewer social skills. As far as antecedents, that is what happens before peer rejection and aggression are displayed in school or at home. An antecedent of peer rejection and aggression is actually poor parenting skills. If children are bombarded with harsh punishment that is not deemed appropriate for the behavior that was chosen, that can be an antecedent for peer rejection and aggression. And if parents provoke children, or they may isolate them, and then children have antisocial tendencies, then that could also be another antecedent for peer rejection and aggression. But as usual, as psychologists, social workers, teachers, it's our job to help these children to decrease their anger and to uh, help them to be able to get along with other peers. And so we have to do some training. We have to help children to assess other people's intentions, and we can do that through role playing. And that often helps aggression. Bullying is a specific type of aggression. It is unwanted and it's aggressive behavior that involves a real or a perceived power imbalance. And usually that can be verbal behavior or that can be physical behavior. There are different types of bullying, and it seems that both males and females have about the same amount of bullying as far as being belittled about looks or speech. And females and males are also have about the same percentage of experienced bullying in regards to being the subject of rumors. What's interesting is that we looked at the type of bullying, the subject of sexual comments or gestures. Males are Females actually are more likely to have this type of bullying compared to males. So it's important that we understand the types of bullying that females and males go through so that we can help to combat that bullying. And so in the next slide, we're going to talk about how we can decrease bullying in the school system. What I thought was very important and something that I would like to try is that getting older peers to serve as monitors for bullying. A lot of times, especially in like elementary or middle school, children really look up to peers that are older than them. And so if we have older peers that serve as monitors for bullying, usually a child gets a message better if it's coming from another child compared to an adult sometimes. And something else is that we have to get the parents involved as well. We have to encourage the parents to reinforce and model positive interpersonal interactions. A lot of times when we are dealing with bullies, we can see that the mom or dad or the caregiver actually reinforces the negative behavior. And so the children continue to be bullied. So we have to show parents what the possible behavior is of bullying that their child may show not only at school but at home, and also be able to reinforce the positive interactions so that children understand what is appropriate behavior and what is not. And sometimes more help is needed. And so as teachers and therapists and social workers, sometimes we have to encourage the parents to contact us for help. And as teachers too, have to put in a recommendation for parents to take their child to get help, because there may be something else going on that we just don't know about. Okay, in the next section, we're going to talk about play, and play is very important for in the development of children. So I'm going to see you all on the next video.